Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest for the afternoon, Mr. Ramzy Khoury, our journalist. And Mr. Ramzy, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Angie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramzy, for your time. Now, of course, we're seeing all the reactions by the different organizations, different countries, with regards to the latest attack and horrible massacre that occurred in the school in Gaza City. We've seen over 100 souls being martyred, really, at the Tabain school, which was sheltering displaced Palestinians in eastern Gaza City. First and foremost, Mr. Ramzy, how do you see this latest inhumane escalation with regards to the attack on the school?
It's a surrealistic scene that has been going on for 9 months. In the past 24 hours, Israel committed three massacres, but this is an ongoing genocide. The massacres have occurred on a daily basis. It is massacres that are deliberate, massacres that are attacking civilians, and the whole world knows this. There is no question anymore regarding whether these attacks are deliberate or not. There is no question anymore regarding the intent to kill civilians en masse, because if we're looking at the total numbers have become ridiculous. And a major percentage of the Palestinian population in Gaza has been wiped out already. It is ongoing. And all we receive are statements. And statements in this case is hot air. That is useless. What needs to be done is action on the international community that is watching this genocide being conducted under the eyes of the whole world and doing nothing about it. And this is where the problem is. If the international community does not do anything about this, then it is complicit in the genocide. Mm-hmm. And this is where the problem is. The problem is no longer with Israel. Israel is that kind of state. Israel is a state that will conduct genocide. Israel has conducted genocide in order for it to get founded in 1948. It has conducted genocide all throughout the way. It got away with it. It thinks that it can continue to get away with it, and this is where the problem is. The problem is with the international community that is allowing Israel to continue the genocide and to get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Mr. Ramzy, also on that note, a spokesperson for the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, urged Israel's ally, Washington, to put an end to the blind support which has led to the killing of thousands of innocent civilians, including children, women, and the elderly. And we've seen other international organizations and countries denouncing this recent terrorist and inhumane act. Also, we've seen, for example, Qatar and Saudi Arabia condemning the strike, which has come as mediators were pushing to resume ceasefire talks. Where does this leave this situation, in your opinion, Mr. Ramzy?
Well, this is the biggest problem that we are facing. The single country that is giving Israel the impunity that it has is the United States of America. And the maximum we've heard from the United States that supplies Israel with all of the weapons that Israel is using to conduct the genocide and to continue the massacres, is that the United States is concerned about this incident or that incident. How is that going to help the concern of the United States? Because obviously Israel doesn't care if the United States gets concerned. Israel cares if the United States does not supply it with weapons. Israel cares if the United States decides not to veto any resolution that attempts to stop Israel from doing what it is doing against all international law. Now that's what Israel cares about. And this is what the Palestinians care about. And this is what the whole international community cares about in order to preserve any sense of humanity. They care about action. They don't care if the United States gets concerned or not, and this is the only thing that the United States is willing to do, is to offer its concern. This is a farce, and this is a farce that is very dangerous. It's not dangerous only because innocent people are getting killed on a daily basis. It is also dangerous because the whole international law, the whole international order is now in danger. Why is it in danger? Because you cannot apply it to one state but not apply it to another.
Indeed.
Law has to be independent, it has to be objective. It has to achieve justice, and justice is a value that is for everyone. Justice is not a value for a certain human being, yet another human being does not enjoy it. Therefore, this is where we are today, and with all honesty, enough is enough. And the whole world is saying this. And
Absolutely.
I think that they are not saying it to Israel, that nobody expects to adhere. But they're saying it to the United States of America, that is allowing Israel to do all of what it's doing.
Indeed. Now, Mr. Ramzy, we've seen Egypt, the United States and Qatar rescheduling another round of ceasefire negotiations for Thursday, especially now, fears are growing of a broader conflict involving Iran, as well as the Lebanese ally Hezbollah. How critical is the situation in this light, in your opinion?
These are two different issues. Netanyahu is engaged in these negotiations because he needs them. He needs to say, look, I'm trying to resolve the problem and to reach a ceasefire, but I can't. Yet he is the person, and this government is the government that has sabotaged every single bout of negotiations. And it may as well do exactly this with this bout, with this round. Despite the statements that are being made, we've heard them before. And we've seen what Israel has done before. It has become so farcical, and it's become a joke. Israel may even submit a proposal to the United States, which the United States submits to the negotiators. The negotiators get the approval of Hamas only for Israel to withdraw from what it submitted with its own hands. We've seen this happen over and over and over again.
Yes.
Why is Netanyahu playing this game? Netanyahu is playing this game because he needs to tell all of the families of the people who are in the hands of Hamas, who they describe as hostages and who Hamas describes as prisoners of war, to tell them that Netanyahu is actually putting effort in trying to release their family members. This is the only reason why he's doing it, and also to give face to the United States that is giving all of this cover. Is it possible for this to continue on and on and on, round after round after round, and until when? And what does this have to do with the genocide that is going on the ground? If the demand is, and this is an Israeli demand that is public, Israel made it public. Israel said, when you release the hostages, military action will stop. So basically what Israel is saying is, if you release the hostages, then we will not conduct the genocide anymore. That in itself is a war crime. That in itself is a war crime that makes any country that accepts it a partner in genocide. And therefore, this is just, this game has to stop as well. The United States of America needs to stop the genocide and needs to stop the ridiculous, farcical game that Netanyahu is playing through negotiations. Not only this, but Egypt and Qatar, who have put a huge amount of effort in trying to reach a ceasefire, may very soon come and say, we're not playing this game anymore. We're not playing this game, because this is just a game that is not leading anywhere. Israel has to be forced to reach a ceasefire, and it has to be a permanent ceasefire, and we really need to bring in the aid in order to help the Palestinians before they die. They are dying of hunger, and they are also dying of disease. Disease is a very big problem. Children have a major problem in Gaza today. They have, because of lack of cleanliness, because the infrastructure has been destroyed by Israel. So you have sewage everywhere, and this has allowed for disease to spread in a manner that is unprecedented. unprecedented anywhere in the world. Everything that is going on in Gaza is unprecedented. Israel has reached new heights in its atrocities, and the world is watching. And this is not acceptable. It's not acceptable at all. Countries that have done way much less than Israel has done were stopped by the international community. What gives Israel the right to continue genocide and to continue breaking international law? As for the situation,
yes,
in my opinion, I don't think that Iran has a choice but to retaliate. And so does Hezbollah. Hezbollah, their top military leader was assassinated. And therefore these parties don't have much of a choice but to retaliate. How are they going to retaliate? Are they going to retaliate at the same level, i.e. attempt to assassinate Israeli leaders, just like Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated? He's not a military leader, he's a political leader. Or are they going to attack Israel with rockets, etc., etc.? Can this lead to a wide-scale regional war? Yes, of course it can. Yes, of course it can.
Yes.
Because Iran retaliates, Hezbollah retaliates, Israel starts claiming that that was the start of the whole problem, that retaliation was the start. Because that's what Israel does every time. It does something really bad, somebody retaliates, then everything starts at the retaliation. So it would become packaged in international media and on the voice of the United States of America that the Iranian attack on Israel was unjustified, etc., etc., etc. We've heard all of this before, and therefore giving Israel another green light to retaliate on the retaliation. If that happens, then we're talking about wide scale,
yes,
and we're talking about regional, and we're talking about this whole area paying a much bigger price than the price that we've already been paying since the 7th of October, because the whole economy of the region has been devastated by the ongoing war on Gaza,
yes,
the genocide, the massacres, all of that.
Absolutely. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it at there. Mr. Ramzy Khoury, our guest and journalist for the afternoon. I'd like to thank you very, very much, sir, for your time and your insight and for joining us on today's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up today's edition of Arab Affairs. My name is Angie Meher. Thank you for joining us.